Liam wasn't supposed to be outside, but that day he slipped out through the back gate, barefoot and curious. His mum was inside folding laundry. Liam was 3, old enough to wander, too young to understand danger. The wind was strange. It wasn't quiet like usual. It carried a sound, faint, broken. A scream, or maybe a howl. Liam froze by the fence. His toy truck dropped from his hand. Again, that sound. It didn't sound like a person. It didn't sound like an animal either. It sounded hurt. Liam stepped into the woods, just a few feet, then more. Dry leaves crunched under his toes. There it was again. Louder this time. A sharp cry, then silence. He followed it. The deeper he went, the darker it got. The trees blocked the sun. His tiny hands brushed rough branches, but he didn't stop. Something pulled him forward. Then he saw it. A dog. It was lying on its side, shaking. Mud was caked on its fur. Blood streaked down its leg. One ear was torn. Its chest rose fast, like it was gasping, but it didn't move. Liam didn't scream. He just stared. The dog's eyes met his. One brown, one clouded. Liam whispered, "Doggy." The dog blinked slowly. Then it whimpered, soft, broken, like it had given up on being heard. Liam crouched beside it. He didn't touch it. He just sat, legs crossed, close enough for it to feel he wasn't there to hurt it. He picked up a stick and gently pushed it toward the dog. "Want to play?" he asked. The dog didn't move, but its eye followed the stick, just a little. That was enough. Liam smiled. Minutes passed, maybe hours. His mum's voice echoed faintly in the distance, calling his name again and again. But Liam stayed. The dog shivered, tried to lift its head, failed, and let it fall. That's when Liam touched its fur, slowly, softly. "You're okay now," he whispered. A rustle behind them made the dog jump. It growled, weakly. Liam turned. His mum. She stood there frozen, one hand on her chest, the other covering her mouth. Her eyes were wide with fear, not because of Liam, but because of what he was sitting next to. "Liam!" she shouted. "Back away! Don't touch it!" Liam frowned. "But he's hurt. Baby, please come here right now." Liam didn't move. "He's bleeding. He's crying," he said. The dog's growl faded into a cough. She pulled out her phone. "Yes, hi. There's a dog in the woods. It's hurt. And my son." The dog whimpered again. Liam held its paw. "He's nice," he told his mum. "He didn't bite." Within minutes, flashing lights appeared through the trees. A white van. A man in gloves stepped out, carrying a long looped stick. "Step back, Mom," he said. "We'll take it from here." Liam hugged the dog tight. "No, don't hurt him." "We're not going to hurt him, kid," the man said. "He just needs help." But the stick scared the dog. It growled again, louder this time, even as it struggled to stand. Its legs wobbled. Liam started crying. "He's scared," the man sighed. "I've seen this before. It's been abused. Might not make it through the night." "No!" Liam shouted. "He's my friend." The man paused. Liam's mum knelt beside him. "Honey, we have to let them help him." "But what if they don't?" Liam whispered. The dog licked his hand. That broke her. She looked at the animal control officer. "Can I come with you?" He shook his head. "I'm sorry. Shelter policy. We'll let you know what happens." They lifted the dog onto a stretcher. It didn't fight. It just stared at Liam the whole time. Before they shut the van door, Liam ran forward. "Wait, what's his name?" The officer shrugged. "Doesn't have one." Liam thought for a moment. Then he said, "Ghost, because he's quiet." The man raised an eyebrow. "All right, Ghost it is." The door slammed shut. As the van drove off, Liam whispered, "Come back soon." He didn't know then that Ghost wasn't going to a safe place. He didn't know that this was just the beginning. All he knew was the screams in the wind had stopped, but something else had started. Something neither of them could stop. The van disappeared down the dirt road, and Liam just stood there, staring at the empty space where Ghost had been. His tiny fingers still held the toy truck he forgot he had. That night, Liam couldn't sleep. He kept asking questions his mum didn't know how to answer. Where's Ghost now? Is he still cold? Will they be nice to him? She tried, her best. He's safe now, baby. They'll take care of him. But even she didn't believe her own words. Across town, Ghost was shoved into a steel cage at the back of a cold shelter. A metal tag was hung on his door. Unknown breed. Male. No name, no collar, he growled as the gate clanged shut, but no one looked twice. Another stray, one worker muttered. Probably fought in the woods or hit by a car. The vet didn't say much. Just gave him a shot, cleaned the wound a little, and moved on. No one called him Ghost. He was just a number. He didn't eat. He didn't bark. He just lay there, one eye half closed, the other watching every shadow that moved past. Back at home, Liam woke up screaming. His mum rushed in. What is it? He's crying, Liam whispered. He's crying and I can't hear him no more. The next morning, they drove to the shelter. The woman at the front desk looked tired. My son found a dog yesterday, Liam's mum said. He was hurt. They called him Ghost. The woman typed something. You mean the stray from the woods? Yes. Can we see him? She shook her head. I'm sorry. He's not available for visits. He's under evaluation. What does that mean? Liam's mum asked. It means we're checking if he's safe. Some dogs come in too aggressive to be rehomed. Liam's mum tensed. He's not aggressive. He let my son sit beside him. The woman sighed. Ma'am, I don't make the decisions. Liam tugged her sleeve. He needs me, but they left empty-handed. Back in his room, Liam sat on the floor drawing. Crayons scattered everywhere. He drew the forest, the dog, the blood, big red scribbles in the sky. Bad men hurt him, he whispered. Meanwhile, Ghost was still in the cage. A young volunteer named Jenna stopped when she passed him. Hey, buddy, she said softly. You're not even barking. What happened to you? Ghost just blinked. She crouched down. You're the one the kid found, huh? Ghost's ear twitched. You don't look mean. Just scared. She offered him a small piece of bread. He didn't take it. Suit yourself, she said. But before leaving, she whispered, Ghost. That's a cool name. For a second, his tail moved. Just a little. That night, Jenna checked his chart. Possible euthanasia if behavior doesn't improve within 48 hours. She stared at the screen. No way, she whispered. You don't deserve that. The next day, Liam asked again, Can we bring Ghost home now? His mom didn't answer. She just pulled him close. Ghost was still in that cold cage. Still waiting, still silent, and time was running out. Jenna couldn't sleep that night. Ghost's eyes kept coming back to her. Quiet, empty, like he'd already given up. She showed up early the next morning and snuck him a slice of ham. He didn't touch it. Come on, buddy, she whispered. Don't make them think you're dangerous. Back at Liam's house, things weren't quiet either. He wasn't talking much. Not playing. Not smiling. He didn't even touch his pancakes. He just pushed them around the plate. His mom crouched next to him. Liam, honey, can you please eat something? He shook his head. He's hungry too. Who, baby? Ghost. She sat down with a sigh. Sweetheart, Ghost isn't coming back. We tried, remember? You didn't try hard enough. She froze. That was the first time Liam had spoken all morning. Later that day, she called the shelter again. We're still evaluating him, the woman said, flatly. He hasn't responded to food, still growling, still tense. I can come in. Maybe if he hears my son's voice. I'm sorry, no visitors. She hung up. That evening, Liam sat in front of the window, watching the wind move. The trees. He's cold, he whispered. How do you know that? His mom asked gently. I just do. She rubbed his back. I know you love him. He's my dog. Baby, he's not ours. We found him, but he doesn't belong to us. Yes, he does. She didn't respond. The next day, Jenna walked past Ghost's cage again. This time, he lifted his head. Hey, she smiled, kneeling. Look who finally wants to say hi. She slipped her fingers through the bars slowly. Ghost didn't growl. He sniffed her hand. There you go. She pulled out a small notebook. You want to hear something weird? The little boy who found you? He's not eating either. Ghost blinked. Jenna opened the cage door just a bit. Ghost didn't move. I'm not supposed to be in here, she whispered. But I couldn't leave you alone. She sat on the floor. Ghost crawled to her, inch by inch. Then he rested his head on her shoe. That was the moment Jenna knew. This wasn't just a broken dog. He was holding on. Just barely. At home, Liam started drawing again. This time, the picture was different. Ghost wasn't lying down anymore. He was standing. His tail was wagging. Liam had drawn them both standing in a backyard, under a bright yellow sun. His mum leaned over. Is that you too? Liam nodded. This is after you say yes. She bit her lip. Yes to what? To bringing him home. Her throat tightened. She shook her head. Sweetheart, I can't say yes. I'm sorry. Liam didn't say anything. He just took a red crayon and started scribbling over the picture until it was all red. At the shelter, Jenna was in the manager's office. He's not aggressive, she said. I sat with him. He was calm. The manager looked over his glasses. Even a calm dog can bite. But he didn't. Not once. It's not up to you, Jenna. But we're going to kill him because he's scared. That kid risked his life for him. The manager leaned back. We have too many strays. We can't save them all. Jenna slammed her hand on the desk. But this one we can. He didn't answer, just nodded toward the door. She walked out. Back home, Liam refused. Dinner again. I'm not hungry. You said that yesterday, his mom replied softly. He looked at her. You said no. So, I say no. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat by his window, holding the picture with the red scribbles. Ghost was still in the cage, still waiting. But now, someone was finally fighting for him. Jenna didn't go home after her shift. She stayed in her car thinking about Ghost. His eyes, his silence, how he didn't bite, didn't bark, just laid there waiting for something that never came. The shelter had rules. Rules that didn't care if a dog was scared or just hurt. If he didn't pass the test, he was marked, and Ghost had already been marked. Inside the shelter, a clipboard was updated. Next to Ghost's number, someone wrote one word. Unfit. The clock was ticking. The next morning, Jenna showed up early again. She walked straight to Ghost's cage. Morning, buddy, she whispered. Ghost looked up, but didn't move. She slid him a piece of turkey. He sniffed it. Took it, slowly, carefully. That's it. Good boy. One of the older workers passed by and scoffed. Don't waste your time. That one's already tagged. Jenna turned. What do you mean? He's on the list. End of the week. Her stomach dropped. But he's not aggressive. That's not what his chart says. Jenna stared at Ghost. They didn't even give you a chance. Back at home, Liam was still drawing. But this time, he drew a cage. Inside it, a dog with sad eyes. Outside the cage stood a stick figure holding a sign that said, Let him out. His mum saw it and sighed. Liam, I don't think Ghost is coming. Back! He's waiting for me, Liam whispered. How do you know that? Because I heard him. She didn't ask what he meant. She just kissed his head and walked away. At the shelter, Jenna walked into the manager's office. "We can't put him down," she said firmly. He didn't look up from his screen. "We don't have the space. He's not dangerous. You've been here 2 months. You don't get to change policy." He responds to me. He glanced up. "And what happens when someone else walks in and he bites?" "He won't. He just needs time." The manager stood. "We don't give time here, we give results." She walked out furious. Back in the kennel, Ghost was pressed against the wall, trying to stay as far from the gate as he could. Every loud bark, every metal clang, it made him flinch. That night, Jenna stayed late. The cameras were off, lights dimmed. She unlocked Ghost's cage. He didn't run. He stepped forward, slowly, and rested his head against her knee. "See?" she whispered. "You're not dangerous." She sat on the floor and pulled out a small notebook. She opened it and showed him the drawing Liam made. "That little boy, he's still waiting for you." Ghost stared at the paper, then at her. She smiled. "We're not done yet." The next morning, the manager called a staff meeting. 2 dogs will be put down this Friday, no exceptions. Jenna's chest tightened. Later that day, she found the janitor, Frank. He'd been there for years and didn't talk much. She handed him a small envelope. "Frank, please. Can you just keep him off the list until I figure something out?" He looked around, then nodded. "I'll do what I can." Back at home, Liam stood by the window again. His mum walked over. "You want to talk about anything?" "I heard Ghost again." "Liam, I'm not lying." She knelt down. "I know, you believe it. But sometimes, our hearts hear what they miss." He looked up. "Then my heart is right." That night, Ghost didn't sleep much, neither did Jenna. She sat on her bed, staring at a blank adoption form. There was only one way to save him, but her lease didn't allow pets. Still, she filled it out, just in case. The shelter didn't care who a dog used to be. But Ghost had once been someone's entire world, and now that little boy was fighting for him, in silence, with crayons, and in dreams no one believed. But Jenna believed. And that was the first step. Jenna folded the adoption form and slipped it into her bag. She wasn't sure if it would be accepted, but she had to try. Ghost was running out of time. At Liam's house, things were breaking down fast. He didn't talk much anymore, just stared at the front door like he was waiting for someone. He stopped eating. He stopped laughing. Every night he woke up screaming. "He's scared," he cried. "Ghost is scared." His mom rushed in, holding him close. "It's okay, baby. It was just a dream." "It wasn't a dream. I saw him." He was crying. That morning, Liam wouldn't get out of bed. His mom sat beside him. "Sweetheart, let's go outside. You need fresh air." "No." "Maybe we can go to the park." "No," she sighed. "Can you tell me what you're feeling?" "I feel like Ghost is gonna die." Her eyes filled with tears, but she stayed strong. "We don't know that." "He's alone," Liam whispered, "and nobody's helping him." Back at the shelter, Ghost hadn't eaten in 2 days. Jenna knelt beside his cage. "I don't know what else to do," she whispered. "They won't let me adopt you without proof you're safe." Ghost just laid his head down and closed his eyes. That night, Liam had another nightmare. He screamed until his voice cracked. His mum rushed in, shaking. "Ghost is trapped," Liam sobbed. "There's fire. He can't get out." She held him tightly. "It's not real, Liam." "Yes, it is," he cried. "I heard him screaming." The next morning she made a decision. She picked up the phone and called the shelter again. "Hi, this is about the dog my son found. His name is Ghost." The woman on the line replied, "That dog is still under behavioral review. I want to talk to someone in charge." "Ma'am? No. Listen, my son isn't eating. He isn't sleeping. He's losing himself because of this dog. Please, let me see him one last time." The woman paused. "I'll leave a note, but no promises." Back at the shelter, Jenna sat with Ghost in the medical room. Frank had helped sneak him in without alerting the others. "You're not sick," she whispered. "You're just broken." Ghost rested his head on her lap. She pulled out another drawing Liam had given her. It showed Ghost running in a field. Jenna held it close. "He still believes in you." Just then her phone buzzed. It was a message from the front desk. Woman called. Claims dog is emotionally tied to her son. Wants to visit. Jenna's heart raced. "Please let it be true," she whispered. That evening, Liam stood by the door, still holding his toy truck. His mom knelt beside him. "I might have found a way," he looked up, "to bring him home. No promises, baby, but maybe we can say goodbye. Properly." Liam blinked. "He doesn't want goodbye." She pulled him into a hug. Across town, Ghost finally finished the slice of bread Jenna gave him. It was the first thing he'd eaten in days. And maybe, just maybe, he was starting to believe someone still cared. Ghost's slow recovery gave Jenna a bit of hope. He was eating again, just barely, but it was something. She knew she didn't have much time. The final review was days away. If Ghost didn't pass their so-called temperament test, he'd be taken off the list, for good. So, Jenna started digging. She printed his intake papers, injuries, photos, and the vet's report. None of it made sense. The shelter had marked Ghost as aggressive, but the notes said he hadn't snapped, bitten, or lunged. Just fear. Fear and shaking. She asked the front desk, "Do you know where they found him exactly?" The lady shrugged. "Somewhere near the forest line behind Mason Street. There's a clearing back there." Jenna's heart raced. Is there a house nearby? Maybe an old hunting cabin, abandoned for years. That was all she needed. After her shift, Jenna didn't go home. She drove straight to Mason Street and parked near the woods. She hiked deep in, using her phone's flashlight. 10 minutes in, she found it. The cabin was falling apart. Rotten wood, broken windows, the door hanging on one hinge. She pushed it, open, and stepped inside. The smell hit her first. Mold, old blood, and something worse. Chains hung from a beam. A stained rope lay on the floor. There were claw marks on the walls. Deep ones. She whispered, "Oh my God." Something horrible happened here. She pulled out her phone and started taking pictures. Suddenly she heard a sound. A soft whine from outside. She froze. "Hello," she called. Silence. Then another whimper. High-pitched. Faint. She stepped outside and followed it around the cabin. There, hidden in a pile of dead leaves, was a small dog. Barely alive, ribs showing. One paw twisted. Fur matted with dried blood. It looked just like Ghost, but smaller. A puppy. Jenna dropped to her knees. Hey, it's okay," she whispered. "I'm not here to hurt you." The pup didn't move. Jenna wrapped it gently in her jacket and held it close. "You're coming with me." Back at the shelter, Frank was sweeping the hallway when Jenna rushed in. "I need help. Now." He looked at the bundle in her arms. "Another one?" "I found him behind the cabin. Same place Ghost was dumped." Frank opened the door to the side kennel. "In here." She laid the pup down on a towel. It didn't even whimper. Jenna sighed. "If this doesn't prove something bad happened out there, I don't know what will." Frank looked at her. "You gonna tell the manager?" "They won't care," Jenna said. "But I will." She stayed with the puppy for hours, making sure it drank water and didn't pass out. Meanwhile, Ghost sat up in his kennel, ears alert. He sniffed the air. Then, for the first time in days, he let out a soft, low whine. Jenna looked up. "You know him, don't you?" Ghost stood. He looked toward the door. Frank nodded. "Looks like he remembers," Jenna whispered. "I think." They were both locked in that cabin, and Ghost got out. She reached for her notebook and started writing everything down. Every detail, every injury, every word Liam had said. She flipped to the drawing Liam made, the forest, the blood red sky, the screaming. He knew, she whispered. That kid knew. Frank looked at the pup. You gonna name him? Jenna smiled weakly. Ash. Why Ash? Because he was left in the fire, and he survived. Ghost lay back down, but his eyes never left the kennel door. He knew Ash was close, and that meant something was coming next. Something big. Ash was too weak to stand, but Jenna stayed beside him all night. She placed a heating pad under the towel and fed him drops of water through a syringe. Every time he let out a shaky breath, Ghost's ears twitched. By morning, Ghost hadn't taken his eyes off the door. He knew who was on the other side. Jenna rubbed her eyes. You remember him, don't you? Frank stepped in quietly. He's been like that all night. Alert, watching. Jenna nodded. They were together. That place, whatever happened in that cabin, it broke them. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through the photos from the night before. The chains, the rope, the bloodstains. Then the claw marks. Dozens of them, dug deep into the wooden walls. Frank, she whispered. Those marks. They weren't from one dog. He leaned over her shoulder. Looks like more than two. Which means there were others. Maybe before Ghost. Maybe even before Ash. Frank frowned. You think someone was keeping them locked in there? I don't think. I know. Later that afternoon, Jenna stood outside the manager's office, photos in hand. Her heart was pounding. She knocked once, stepped inside. I found something, she said. About Ghost. And the puppy. The manager didn't look up. Unless it's adoption paperwork, I don't want to see it. Jenna held up the photos. There's a cabin where Ghost was found. Chains on the walls. Blood on the floor. Claw marks. It's a torture site. He glanced up. You entered private property? No signs. No locks. And I found a puppy barely breathing out back. He sighed. Jenna, we're not the police. We don't have authority to investigate stuff like this. But we're responsible for what happens next. Ghost and that pup. Ash, they were victims, and we're about to kill one of them because of it. The manager leaned back. His file says he's aggressive. His file is wrong, Jenna snapped. He's scared, not violent, and he remembers what happened in that cabin. He stood. Even if you're right, we don't have space. We don't have the staff. You care too much. I should care too much, she yelled. Because no one else does. He shook his head. You're dismissed for the day. Jenna stormed out. She paced the back hallway, trying not to cry. Frank approached slowly. What now? He asked. She swallowed hard. Now, I go to someone who can do something. Later, that evening, Jenna sat in her car outside the police station. She looked at the photos again, then at her phone. One number stared back at her. Animal Cruelty Division. She dialed. Hello? A voice answered. My name's Jenna. I volunteer. At the Westbrook shelter, I found something bad. I think dogs were being abused in an abandoned cabin. I have photos. A survivor, and one more who's about to be put down. There was silence. Then the voice said, Bring everything in. Tonight. Jenna whispered, Thank you. Back at the shelter, Ash stirred in his sleep. His tiny paw twitched. Ghost, still behind the gate, let out a low, aching sound. Not a bark, not a growl, just pain. Frank heard it and walked over. I know, buddy, he said softly. She's trying. Ghost pressed his nose to the metal bars. On the wall across from him hung a schedule. In red ink, euthanize, Friday, 2 days left. But now, the truth had a witness, and Ghost wasn't just a broken dog anymore. He was evidence. Jenna didn't sleep. She spent the whole night at the police station, handing over every photo, every injury report, and both of Liam's drawings. When the officer saw Ash wrapped in the blanket on her lap, his voice softened. This the second one? Jenna nodded. He was behind the cabin, barely alive. He knelt to look at Ash. He's lucky. No, Jenna whispered. He's broken. Just like the other. Back at the shelter, Ghost hadn't moved from the gate. His eyes stayed locked on the hallway. Frank had noticed. Been quiet all morning, he said to Jenna on the phone. Won't even eat. Jenna replied. Keep him calm. I'll be there soon. She hung up and turned back to the officer. So what happens now? We send a team to the cabin. If what you're saying is true, we'll open a case. And Ghost? The officer sighed. We can't hold an animal as evidence without a legal process. He's still under shelter rules. He's scheduled to be euthanized in less than 2 days. The officer looked at her. Can you stall them? Jenna paused. I'll try. She rushed to the shelter. Ash was curled in a corner of a small kennel, still too weak to stand. Jenna crouched beside him. You're safe now. Then she walked down the hall to Ghost's cage. He stood as soon as he saw her. Hey, she whispered. I have good news. She unlocked the cage and sat inside. Ghost came close and laid his head on her lap. You're not just a number anymore, she whispered. You're part of something bigger. But the manager walked in. What do you think you're doing? He barked. Jenna stood. They're opening a cruelty case. That cabin wasn't just a random dump site. He folded his arms. So Ghost and Ash are survivors. And we're a shelter, not a court. He's still on the list. Jenna stepped forward. You can't put him down. Not now. He's a victim. A witness. The manager narrowed his eyes. You're not a lawyer, Jenna. I don't have to be, she shot back. I'm a witness too. He turned and walked out without saying another word. Jenna looked at Ghost. He's scared. Ghost just pressed his head against her hand. Hours later, a woman in a grey suit entered the shelter. She introduced herself as Detective Reyes. I'm handling the case, she said. We visited the cabin. It's worse than you described. Jenna led her to Ghost's cage. This is him. Reyes crouched down. He's alert, watching. He's smart, Jenna said. He remembers. Reyes nodded. We'll need medical records, intake logs, anything with dates. You'll get everything, Jenna promised. Reyes stood. And the pup? In recovery, he'll make it. Barely. As she walked away, Jenna called out, What happens if the case opens? Reyes replied, Then Ghost becomes the proof. For the first time, Jenna smiled. She turned back to Ghost. You're not just surviving anymore, she whispered. You're helping others now. And for the first time, Ghost wagged his tail. Just once. But it was enough. Ghost's tail had moved. Just a little. And that small wag felt like the first sign of light in a dark tunnel. But light doesn't come without shadows. That night, Jenna parked outside her apartment. She got out of her car, reached for her bag, and froze. All 4 of her tires were slashed. Her windshield cracked down the center. A piece of paper was tucked under the wiper. It wasn't folded. One sentence, in bold red marker. Stay out of things you don't understand. She stood still. Her breath caught. Who? She whispered, but she already knew. Back inside, she locked the door and sat at her kitchen table. Her hands were shaking. She called the police. They took the report, but didn't sound surprised. No cameras, the officer asked. No, Jenna replied. Nothing stolen. No. Then there's not much we can do. Jenna leaned back. I reported animal abuse. Someone doesn't want the truth out. The officer sighed. We'll file it, but unless something happens again. He didn't finish. He didn't have to. At the shelter the next morning, Jenna was quiet. Even Frank noticed. You okay? He asked. No, she said softly. Someone slashed my tires. His eyes widened. What? Are you serious? She nodded. They left a note. A threat. Could it be about Ghost? Who else would it be about? Frank looked down the hallway. There's something you should know. One of the guys who works here used to volunteer at a fight ring. Quietly let go. No charges. Jenna stared at him. What's his name? Frank hesitated. I'm not saying anything more. Just watch your back. Jenna turned toward Ghost's kennel. They're scared. He was sitting now, alert but calm. She knelt by the bars. They know you can't talk, but you still have a voice. Ghost blinked slowly, as if he understood. That afternoon, Jenna printed out more photos. She highlighted the injuries that didn't match a car accident. She circled timelines, connected dates. She created a folder labeled Evidence Ghost. Then, she placed Liam's crayon drawings at the front. That night, she received another message. This time, it wasn't on paper. It was written on her back window, scratched into the glass with something sharp. Next time, it won't be your car. She turned around, scanning the street. No one. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Dogs aren't worth dying for. Jenna didn't cry. She walked back inside, locked the doors, and sat on her couch beside Ash, who was slowly regaining strength. She whispered, "Yes, they are." She opened her laptop and recorded a voice note. If anything happens to me, this isn't an accident. This is because I'm trying to protect two dogs, Ghost and Ash. They were abused, and someone's trying to keep that quiet. The next morning, Jenna handed the folder to Detective Reyes. This is everything, she said. Someone inside the shelter knows what happened, and now they're coming after me. Reyes flipped through the pages, stopping at Liam's drawing. This came from the boy? He saw things, heard things, things no 3-year-old should even understand. Reyes nodded. We'll take it from here. Jenna walked out and sat beside Ghost again. They're scared of you, she whispered, but they should be scared of what's coming. Ghost pressed his paw to the metal gate, and in that small, quiet moment, they weren't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting back. The folder Jenna gave to Detective Reyes was full of proof, photos, notes, timelines, and Liam's drawings, but something still didn't sit right. Back at the shelter, Jenna's gut told her there was more. She walked into the break room like she always did, smiled at the front desk girl, and made her way toward the back office. The manager's door was closed. She waited. 10 minutes later, he left for his lunch run. That was her chance. Jenna slipped into the office and shut the door behind her. The lights were off, but she didn't turn them on. She went straight for the desk drawers. First one, paperclips, envelopes, random files. Second one, payroll logs. Then she opened the bottom drawer, and that's where she found it. A plain brown folder, no label. Inside were photos. Dozens of them. Dogs with wounds. Old ones. Different breeds. Some with tags that read euthanized. Others marked transferred. But one photo made her freeze. It was Ghost, younger, skinnier. His ear wasn't torn yet, but his eyes were just as hollow. Attached to the photo was a report, recovered from unauthorized dogfighting site. Handler, M. Tully. Jenna's breath caught. M. Tully. That was the shelter manager. She flipped to the next page. It listed dates, transport records, even contact logs. It was a trail, buried deep. She snapped photos of every page with her phone, her hands trembling. Then she heard footsteps outside. She shoved the folder back and closed the drawer quietly. Then she stepped out, just as the manager walked in holding a sandwich. He gave her a look. "What were you doing?" "Looking for the intake files on Ash," she said calmly. "I thought they might be in here." He frowned. "They're in. Medical." "Thanks," she said, and walked away without looking back. Outside, Jenna collapsed into her car. She stared at the photos on her phone. This was it. This was the link. Ghost had been in that ring. And the man now calling him aggressive was the one who placed him there. She drove straight to the station. Detective Reyes met her in the lobby. Jenna said, "You need to see this." She showed the photos. The name, the dates. Reyes didn't blink. "That's enough for a warrant." Back at the shelter, Ghost paced in his kennel. Frank watched him from the hallway. "He knows something's coming," Frank muttered. Later that night, the shelter went quiet, lights off, doors locked, until 3 black SUVs pulled up outside. Police entered fast, flashing badges and calling names. The manager, gone, left 2 hours earlier, never came back, but in his desk they found the same folder, this time with new notes scribbled on the last page. "If Ghost makes noise, we're done." Jenna stood behind the officers, watching it all unfold. She whispered to herself, "Not noise, truth." The next morning, a new sign was taped to Ghost's kennel. "Do not touch. Legal hold. Investigation." Jenna knelt beside him. "You're not going anywhere now." Ghost leaned forward, pressed his forehead to the gate. And for the first time, he made a sound Jenna hadn't heard before. A deep, soft bark, not afraid, not angry, just real. Because he wasn't a ghost anymore, he was evidence, and finally, someone was listening. Jenna stared at the sign on Ghost's kennel. Legal hold. Investigation. It was the first time the system had protected him instead of trying to erase him. But there was one piece still missing, the one that could break everything wide open. And that piece lived in a quiet house across town. Still drawing. Liam, Jenna, rang the doorbell. Liam's mum opened the door, surprised to see her. "I'm Jenna," she said softly, "from the shelter. I think Liam can help us. And Ghost." She paused. "Please." Inside, Liam sat on the floor, crayons in hand. Another drawing in progress. He looked up, then down again. Jenna knelt beside him. "Hi, Liam. I'm a friend of Ghost's." Liam stopped colouring. "He misses you," she whispered. He looked her in the eyes. "They hurt him." "I know," Jenna said gently. "Do you remember who?" He nodded once, then picked up a red crayon and started drawing. In silence, Jenna watched. First he drew the cabin, then the dog, then a man, a red cap, a long stick, and something on his arm. "What's that on his arm, Liam?" Jenna asked. He whispered, "A circle with a black dog inside. It was on his shirt." Jenna's eyes widened. "You saw that?" Liam nodded. "He hit Ghost when he barked too loud. He said, 'Quiet or you're next.'" Liam's mum gasped from across the room. "He never told me that," she whispered. Jenna turned to her. "That logo, it's the same one printed on the transport files in the folder." She looked back at Liam. "You helped Ghost more than anyone else has." He handed her the drawing. "He's not scared in this one," Jenna smiled. "He'll never be scared again." Later that night, Jenna delivered the drawing to Detective Reyes. "This came from a child," she said. But he described the logo perfectly. He saw the man hurt Ghost. Reyes looked at it closely. "This lines up with the old staff list. One of the transport workers wore that exact logo. He was fired 2 years ago. No charges filed." Jenna asked, "Can we use this?" Reyes nodded slowly. "It's not proof, but it's testimony, and it's powerful." The next morning, Jenna taped Liam's drawing right on Ghost's kennel wall. He walked up to it, stared at it, then turned back to her and let out a slow, low bark. Jenna smiled. "He knows." Frank walked by and stopped. "That from the kid?" "Yeah." Frank looked at Ghost. "He looks different." Jenna nodded. "He's not just a victim anymore." Ghost sat tall, watching the hallway like he finally understood something big was about to happen. And this time, he wasn't alone. Ghost stared at Liam's drawing taped to his kennel. His eyes didn't leave it. Not once. That night, Jenna stayed late to clean. Most of the staff had gone home. Frank was on the night shift, walking the halls. Ash was asleep, curled in a ball, slowly healing. Jenna turned off the lights and whispered, "Good night, Ghost." She walked out, locking the hallway behind her. But something inside Ghost shifted. Maybe it was the memory of the man in the red cap. Maybe it was the sound of the door clicking shut. Or maybe it was the drawing, the one where he wasn't scared. Metal clink echoed in the dark, then another. Frank stopped. What was that? He followed the sound, flashlight in hand. Another clink, then silence. He turned the corner, and Ghost's kennel gate was wide open. Frank ran toward it. What the? Ghost was gone. The back door was cracked open. Frank shouted, "Jenna, he's out." She was already on her way back, still in the parking lot when her phone rang. "Ghost escaped," Frank said. "He's headed toward the woods." Jenna didn't speak. She just ran. No coat, no flashlight, just instinct. She knew exactly where he was going. Back to the beginning, back to the forest. Ghost's paws hit the dirt trail hard. He didn't stop. He didn't look back. He passed the trees like he knew every one of them. His ears twitched. His nose led the way, past the broken fence, past the clearing. Then, the cabin. It looked just like it did that night. Cold, broken, empty. But Ghost didn't hesitate. He pushed open the door and stood still. He sniffed the air, then moved toward the floorboards in the corner, the ones Jenna had missed. He began to dig, not barking, not growling, just digging. Jenna finally reached the cabin out of breath, flashlight shaking in her hand. She stepped inside and saw him. "Ghost?" she called gently. He didn't stop digging. She walked slowly toward him, and then she saw it. Wood pulled back, dirt lifted, and something underneath. She knelt beside him. Oh my God. Bones, dozens. Collars still attached. Jenna covered her mouth. Ghost sat beside the hole, staring down into the truth. Jenna whispered, "You brought me here. To show me." Ghost didn't move. He just kept watching, because this wasn't just where he escaped from. It was where others never got the chance. And he remembered them all. Jenna stood frozen, staring at the open ground Ghost had uncovered. Bones. Dozens of them. Collars still wrapped around what was left. Some chewed, some snapped. Ghost sat beside the hole, still and silent, like he was waiting for someone to understand. Jenna's voice cracked. "You brought me here." Because they couldn't. She gently picked up one collar. It still had a tag. Rusted, but readable. A name. Buddy. Her hands shook as she whispered. They had names. She looked at Ghost. "You weren't the first." Ghost didn't move. He just lowered his head. Jenna reached into her coat pocket and pulled out her phone. She called Detective Reyes. "I found them," she said. "All of them." Reyes answered fast. "Where are you?" "The cabin." Ghost dug it up. "There's a pit under the floor. We're on our way." She hung up and knelt down beside Ghost. "You remembered where they were. You brought me back for them." Ghost looked at the hole again. Jenna ran her fingers gently over his head. "You're not just a survivor. You're their voice." 10 minutes later, the sound of sirens cut through the silence. Flashlights filled the woods. Officers surrounded the cabin, cameras flashing, gloves going on. Reyes stepped inside and froze. "Oh my God." Jenna pointed to the collars. "He found them. No one told him. No one showed him. He knew." Reyes turned toward one of her team. "Bag everything. Tag each collar. We get this all in." Ghost backed away slowly, eyes low, as if afraid he was in trouble. Reyes knelt beside him. "You're okay, boy. You did the right thing." Ghost blinked. then sat. Frank arrived at the scene not long after, escorted by another officer. He spotted Jenna and rushed over. "He really found them?" She nodded. "They buried the truth, but he never forgot." Frank's eyes locked onto the hole. "I worked here for 12 years. I never knew," Jenna whispered. "They made sure no one did." One officer pulled up a collar that was cleaner than the rest. A pink tag dangled at the end. Reyes read it aloud. "Misty, age 2, last seen 4 years ago." Jenna's jaw tightened. "That tag was reported missing. I remember the post online." Reyes turned to her. "This opens everything, every missing case, every closed file. Ghost just changed the story." She looked back at Ghost. "And we owe him everything." Jenna knelt down again. "You brought justice to the forgotten." Ghost leaned into her hand. The officers continued to dig. Each bone told a story. Each collar a name. But only one dog remembered them all. And tonight, he made sure the world did too. The cabin was now a crime scene. Yellow tape surrounded the area. Bags of evidence were loaded into trucks. And Ghost stayed by Jenna's side, quiet but alert. The morning, light started creeping in. Detective Reyes stood near her car, talking into her radio. "Suspect confirmed. Warrants ready. Moving in now." Jenna looked up. "You found him?" Reyes nodded. "Name's Marcus Tully. Used to work in dog transport. Same man Liam described. Same logo. Same location." Jenna swallowed. "He's the one." Across town, a black SUV pulled into a small neighborhood. Tully stepped out of his garage with a cup of coffee in hand. He didn't see it coming. 3 officers approached fast. "Marcus Tully," one shouted. He froze. "What is this?" "You're under arrest for multiple counts of animal abuse, illegal dogfighting, and destruction of evidence." Tully laughed. "You're joking." But he wasn't laughing when they pulled the folder from his desk, the one Jenna had seen. He wasn't laughing when they laid the collars out on the table, and he wasn't laughing when the photo of Ghost was placed in front of him. "You left him to die," Reyes said coldly. Tully muttered. "That dog shouldn't even be alive." Reyes stared hard. "But he is, and he remembered everything." Back at the shelter, news of the arrest spread fast. Jenna arrived to find Frank pacing near the front door. "They got him?" he asked. She nodded. "He's in custody. And they've connected the cabin, the photos, the dogs, everything." Frank sighed. "About time." She looked toward Ghost's kennel. He was standing, ears up, tail still. "Did he eat?" she asked. "Cleaned his bowl," Frank said. "First time in days." Jenna opened the gate slowly. "Hey, boy." Ghost stepped forward. "You did it," she whispered. "You really did it." She knelt, and Ghost licked her hand. Frank chuckled. "He looks proud." Jenna smiled. "He should be." An hour later, Reyes arrived at the shelter with news. "We're pushing for charges, and we're making Ghost the face of the case." Jenna raised an eyebrow. "Like media." "Exactly," Reyes said. "People need to see who survived, who helped solve it." Jenna looked at Ghost. "You okay with being famous?" Ghost gave a small huff, then lay down calmly. Reyes laughed. "He's ready." Jenna added, "Just one thing. I want Liam to be the first to know." Later that afternoon, Jenna stood at Liam's front door, holding Ghost's leash. Liam opened the door slowly, then froze. His eyes lit up. "Ghost?" Jenna smiled. "He remembered everything, Liam, and he helped stop the bad guy." Liam ran out and wrapped his arms around Ghost's neck. "I knew you were a hero," he whispered. Ghost didn't move. He just leaned into the hug, because that boy never gave up on him, and now, neither would the world. While Ghost was finally being seen as a hero, Ash was still healing in silence. He hadn't barked. Not once. Every sound made him flinch. Every shadow made him curl into himself. The scars on his legs had faded, but the ones inside hadn't. Jenna sat with him every day, feeding him by hand. You don't have to be scared anymore, she whispered. Ghost made it out. You did too. Ash didn't move. He just stared, at the corner of the room, always watching. That evening, Jenna brought Ghost to visit him. She opened the kennel gate slowly and let Ghost walk in. Ash tensed at first. Then, a soft sniff. Ghost approached calmly. No growl, no bark. He sat beside Ash and lowered his head. Ash stared at him, and something changed. He stood, slowly. His legs shook, but he stayed up. Then he walked forward and rested his head on Ghost's shoulder. Jenna gasped. Oh my God! You remember him, she whispered. The next morning, Liam and his mum visited again. Jenna met them at the front. He's doing better, she said. Both of them are, Liam smiled. Can I see the puppy? Jenna led him to the back. Ash was curled in the sunlight, resting. Ghost sat beside him, eyes soft. Liam walked over and knelt. Hi, I'm Liam. Ash flinched, but Liam didn't reach for him. He just sat. Jenna stayed quiet. Then, Ash took one step forward, then another. He sniffed Liam's hand. Liam smiled. You're safe now. And that's when it happened. A bark, loud, high, clear. Jenna's eyes widened. Ash! Ash barked again. Then again. Liam clapped. He talked! Ghost stood, tail wagging. Jenna knelt down. That's your voice, little guy. Ash wagged his tail for the first time. He barked at the sky. He barked at Ghost. And then he barked just to bark. It wasn't fear anymore. It was joy. Frank leaned in through the doorway. I guess the quiet one finally found his voice. Jenna smiled. Yeah, and he's not done using it. Ash's bark echoed through the shelter like a small miracle. It wasn't just a sound. It was proof. Proof he'd survived. Proof he still had something to say. But the story didn't stop there. The next day, Jenna received a call from a local reporter. I heard about the dogs, she said. The arrest? The cabin? Is it true? Jenna hesitated. It's all true. And it's not just a story. It's a warning. The reporter asked for permission to visit the shelter and meet Ghost and Ash. Jenna agreed. By that evening, cameras rolled and lights flashed. Ghost sat beside Jenna while Ash stayed close to Liam, now officially called The Boy Who Saved Ghost. The news aired the next morning. The headline read, Toddler and shelter worker help expose underground dog ring. Hero dogs survive the horror. Within hours, everything changed. Donations poured in. Thousands of comments flooded the shelter's page. People shared Ghost's photo with the caption, From victim to hero. Ash's first bark was shared over 2 million times. Jenna walked into the shelter, phone buzzing non-stop. Frank met her at the door. We're trending in 5 countries, she laughed. We didn't even try. He held up a list. 75 adoption offers, just for Ghost. She paused. He's not going anywhere. Not yet. Frank nodded. Ash either. No, she said. They stay together. Later that afternoon, Reyes returned with official papers in hand. It's done, she said. Tully's facing charges. 2 other names are tied to him. The case is growing. Jenna asked, What about Ghost? Reyes smiled. He's now property of the state, but under your care until placement. Jenna looked down at Ghost, then at Ash. No need, she said. I'm keeping them both. Ghost let out a low, happy huff. Ash barked again, tail wagging wildly. Frank chuckled. Guess it's official. That night, Jenna sat in her small apartment, both dogs curled beside her. She scrolled through messages on her phone. One read, I cried watching this story. Thank you for not giving up on him. Another, this gives me hope, for animals, for people, for the world. Jenna looked at Ghost. You're not a ghost anymore. She turned to Ash. And you've got the loudest voice in the world. Ghost licked her hand. Ash leaned into her chest. The world had watched them survive. Now it would watch them live. The video of Ghost's rescue had reached millions. Messages kept pouring in. But while the world was watching, Jenna had something else in mind. She drove back to the forest, not for a story, for peace. Ghost sat in the passenger seat, head resting on the window. Ash curled up in the back, calm and quiet. They weren't afraid of the woods anymore. Jenna parked near the edge and opened the door. "Come on, boys." Ghost jumped out first. Ash followed, slower but steady. They walked the trail in silence. No sirens. No threats. Just the wind. When they reached the cabin site, the yellow tape was gone. The ground had been cleared, the evidence collected, the pain buried, but something new stood there now. A small wooden sign, freshly planted in the ground. It read, "In memory of the forgotten, and in honor of the one who remembered." Ghost Jenna knelt beside the sign. They'll never be forgotten again. Ghost sniffed the dirt, then looked up toward the trees. Jenna whispered, "You hear that?" There was nothing. No screams, no barking, just silence. Liam had once said the forest was crying. Not anymore. Frank had helped build the sign. He arrived a few minutes later holding a small bag of treats. "Hope they like peanut butter," he said. Ash barked once, loud, confident. Frank smiled. "I'll take that as a yes." Ghost sat beside the sign, tall and still. Frank looked around. "It's peaceful now." Jenna nodded. Because of him. Back at the shelter, they had cleared out Ghost's old kennel, left it empty. Not because it was needed, but because it was sacred now, the same way the forest felt. As the sun dipped low, Jenna turned to the dogs. "Ready to go home?" Ghost gave a low bark. Ash ran in a small circle, tail wagging. They walked back together, slow but strong, because the forest wasn't haunted anymore. It was healed, and it was Ghost who made it quiet again. Jenna, Ghost, and Ash returned home from the forest. The quiet still followed them, not heavy like before, but calm, final, safe. Liam and his mom were already waiting outside Jenna's apartment. As soon as the car pulled up, Liam ran to the door. Ghost stepped out first. Liam didn't speak. He just wrapped his arms around Ghost and whispered, "You're really back." Ash barked once and nuzzled into Liam's side. Jenna smiled. "They missed you." Inside, they sat together on the living room floor. Jenna poured hot chocolate. Liam pulled something from his backpack. "I made something," he said. Jenna leaned forward. "For them?" He nodded and unfolded a drawing. It was different from the others. No forest, no blood, no cages. This one showed a house. A backyard ghost, chasing a ball, Ash barking at butterflies, and Liam in the center, arms open wide. Above it all, in big letters, Liam had written, "Home." Jenna felt tears rise. "This one's happy," she whispered. Liam looked at her. "Because it's real now." Ghost pressed his nose to the page and let out a soft, peaceful huff. Ash pawed at the corner of the drawing and barked again. Jenna laughed through her tears. "You two are going to make me cry every day." Liam's mum wiped her eyes. "He hasn't drawn like this in months." Jenna looked at Liam. "You helped save them, and they helped save you." Liam asked, "Can this go on the wall?" "Absolutely," Jenna said. She took the drawing, framed it, and placed it above the couch. It wasn't just art, it was the end of the storm. Later that night, as the dogs curled up side by side on the rug, Liam stood in front of the picture. He whispered, "You're not lost anymore." Ghost let out one soft bark. Ash wagged his tail twice, and for the first time in a long time, everything felt whole.